I believe that this kid should be on every Heisman voter's ballot.
A wide receiver hasn't won the Heisman Trophy since 1991. Nearly 30 years ago, Desmond Howard took home the hardware after an incredible season for the Michigan Wolverines. Since then, only quarterbacks and running backs have taken home the award, with it mainly going to a quarterback. Well, I'm here to tell you that the 2020 Heisman Trophy Award shouldn't go to a quarterback. It should go to the best player in the country, wide receiver DeVonta Smith. Before we get to today's video, make sure you click that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. If you're a college football fan, this is definitely the place for you. There are only a few days left for Heisman ballots to be cast, and we'll know the finalists later this week. Not only does DeVonta Smith from Alabama deserve to be a finalist, he deserves to win. So far in the year, Smith has caught 98 passes for 1,511 yards and 17 touchdowns. He also has a rushing touchdown and a punt return touchdown for good measure. He's first in the country in receptions, first in the country in receiving yards, and is second in the country in receiving touchdowns. What's made his season so special is that he's shown up in the biggest games. First and foremost, last night in the SEC title game. Earlier in the week, I posted a video of my Heisman picks, and I said that DeVonta Smith was going to go absolutely insane against Florida. Well, safe to say, he did just that. He caught a season-high 15 passes for 184 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, I know Florida's defense isn't the best, but good grief. Here's what Tim Tebow had to say about DeVonta Smith earlier in the week. Yeah, I think Tim Tebow knows a thing or two about winning a Heisman. What I want to highlight about DeVonta is, yes, he's great and he's been consistent, but he's also at his best in the biggest moments. You want to talk about A&M? DeVonta stepped up. When the game was close last week against Arkansas, DeVonta took the punt return back. Against Georgia, he's doing their DBs nasty early in the game to keep them in it and then keeping them in the second half. That's what I love about this kid. It's that the moment has never been too big. His entire career, including the national championship just over there, the moment was never too big. That's what I look for in Heisman candidates, is someone in the biggest moments. That's when they're at their best. Alright, so how does his season this year compare to Desmond Howard's Heisman winning season from 1991? In 12 games, Howard had 62 catches for 985 yards and 19 touchdowns. With the exception of touchdowns, DeVonta Smith hasn't beat. Desmond also rushed in 2 touchdowns and had 1 kick return for a touchdown and 1 punt return for a touchdown. So overall, some pretty nearly identical numbers on that front too. It's not too often that a wide receiver finishes in the top 5 of voting. It's only happened 4 times since 2010. Westbrook was the last wide receiver to finish in the top 5 of voting. Back in 2016, he finished in 4th place. That year, he caught 80 passes for 1,500 yards with 19 touchdowns. Prior to him, Alabama wide receiver Amari Cooper finished in 3rd place back in 2014. He caught 124 passes for 1,700 yards with 16 touchdowns. A little better than Smith's numbers across the board, but you do have to remember he played in a few extra games prior to voting. Had Alabama had another 2 or 3 games on their schedule like a normal season, DeVonta Smith very well could have topped all of those numbers. Back in 2012, Marquise Lee finished in 4th place after catching 118 passes for 1,700 yards and 14 touchdowns. Then in 2010, Justin Blackman finished in 5th place with 111 catches, 1,782 yards, and 20 touchdowns. As you can see, there have been many impressive seasons from wide receivers over the years, but never enough to put them over the top and have them take home the award. Now, the closest a wide receiver has come to winning the Heisman actually came back in 2003 when Larry Fitzgerald from Pittsburgh finished in 2nd place, losing to Oklahoma quarterback Jason White. That year, Jason White finished with 1,481 total points, and Larry Fitzgerald finished with 1,353. So it was a very, very tight race. That year, Larry Fitzgerald caught 92 passes for 1,672 yards and 22 touchdowns. But again, another thing you have to consider is DeVonta Smith is playing in 2 fewer games than all these guys I've mentioned. If someone can actually watch that kid play in person and truly believe there's a better player than him in the country, they are the dumbest person alive, an SEC wide receivers coach told Alabama.com. He can do it all, effortless. Hands down, probably the most explosive and dynamic football player in college football right now, an SEC linebackers coach said. He's on the #1 ranked team in the nation that's fully loaded with other weapons, yet he still finds ways to wow us every weekend. The guy is subject to house call it every time he touches the ball. Well, for one, DeVonta Smith has been by far the best wide receiver in college football this year. Sure, you can make the case that maybe there's some other names that have been close, but to me, there's no question. He's by far the best player at his position. He's going to win the Biletnikoff Award with ease, and I don't know who else you'd give your your first place vote too. Secondly, this is a quarterback award now, but there isn't a quarterback who is truly running away with the award like in previous years. Kyle Trask has put up some really good numbers this year, but Florida has 3 losses and they've lost 2 in a row to close out the year. Zach Wilson, he's been fantastic, but BYU isn't in a conference and they haven't played anybody, and the one chance Zach Wilson had to prove himself, he lost to Coastal Carolina. Trevor Lawrence, he's been phenomenal, but he missed a few games and the biggest game of the season against Notre Dame. Trevor Lawrence has been phenomenal, but missing a few games definitely hurt him. Finally, you have Alabama's quarterback Mack Jones, who likely is going to win the award, but about half of his production is largely thanks to DeVonta Smith. Now, since Alabama is wide receiver U, I'm sure DeVonta Smith wasn't there, someone would have filled his place, but again, you can't tell me that without DeVonta Smith, Mack Jones' numbers would look anything like they are now. In a year that has been so hectic and full of crazy surprises, I think that it would be very fitting for a wide receiver to take home the Heisman. If it's not going to be DeVonta Smith to win it all, we very well may never see a wide receiver win the award ever again. Personally, if there was a way to split it between DeVonta Smith, Mack Jones, and Najee Harris, I would do that. They've all been phenomenal this year. However, Smith has been the clear-cut best at his own position. So, what do you guys think? Do you think DeVonta Smith deserves to win the Heisman Trophy? Drop a comment down below and share with me your thoughts. Sometime this week, I'm going to be posting my final Heisman ballot of the season. We're going to be getting the finalists later in the week, but I want to share with you who I would have in my top 5 if I had a vote. Comment who you think is going to win the Heisman Trophy or who you want to win the Heisman Trophy. If you haven't done so yet, if you could please take a second to give this video a thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. It only takes a second to do, and it helps share this video with more college football fans. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you never miss another video. I'll be posting a ton of college football content all off season, so if you love college football, this is definitely the place for you. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.
Heisman has become a quarterback award, Desmond. We all know that. Do you believe DeVonta Smith deserves to be in the discussion the way he is right now with those guys?
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. This young man is outstanding. He's one of the most rare and unique talents in college football right now. But what I love about him, Green, is he's an alpha male out there on that field. He's the dog. He comes back to the ball. He tells the coaches, listen, feed me the ball. In the Georgia game, when they were struggling, they couldn't get in rhythm. DeVonta Smith was the one who went to the coach and said, just feed me the ball. You can see his body language in that game, and he's the one who took over that Georgia game. It's important in a sense, and he's only getting stronger and stronger. He can beat you in all 3 phases.
And I know this has been a quarterback award in the past, but he has been the best player in college football all season long. 83 catches, almost 1,400 yards receiving, 17 total touchdowns. He has all of the tools in the tool bag to not only be a great receiver in college football, which he is, but also at the next level, whether he's running a post and running behind defensive backs, or whether he's running a slant, breaking tackles and taking it to the house. I think everyone would agree DeVonta Smith is right up there in that top 2 or 3, obviously number 1 for me.